It is 9 o'clock at night. You just got home from a long day. The second your key turns in the lock, you hear it. Whining, pacing. That low, restless scratch at the door before you've even opened it. Your dog is anxious again, and you have no idea why tonight is worse than last night. I know exactly how exhausting this is. You've tried the calming treats from the pet store. You've tried leaving the TV on. Maybe you've even had a $150 consultation about it. And what's worse? Anxiety keeps coming back. Pacing, the panting, the shaking during thunderstorms, the destroyed pillow when you leave for work. Nothing seems to fully fix it. But what if I told you one of the most effective calming tools for an anxious dog isn't a pill, a spray, or an expensive vest? What if I told you it takes about 3 minutes, costs nothing, and most dog owners have never even heard of it? Today, I am going to show you exactly how to calm an anxious dog using a handful of simple, vet-approved techniques you can start using tonight. Hi everyone, I'm Dr. Marcus, your neighborhood veterinarian, and welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, I dedicate this entire channel to helping you become the best pet parent you can possibly be, using simple, vet-approved home remedies. Before we dive in, drop the guilt. You're not a bad pet parent because your dog gets anxious. Anxiety in dogs isn't a reflection of bad training or bad parenting, it's a nervous system response. And in fact, the very fact that you're watching this video right now proves you care. I actually posted a video on separation anxiety triggers, which I'll link at the end, so make sure to check that one out too. So today we are doing a complete masterclass. Grab a notebook, because I am about to give you 6 proven ways to calm an anxious dog, starting with the one technique almost nobody talks about. Let's get into it. Let's start with something that has nothing to do with food, oil, or anything from your pantry. It's not a supplement. It's not a toy. It's a single point on your dog's body that veterinary acupuncturists have used for decades to calm a panicked nervous system in under a minute. Here's the problem. When a dog spikes into anxiety, their sympathetic nervous system floods the body with stress hormones. That's the fight or flight switch flipping on. Talking to them, petting their back, none of that actually flips the switch back off. Now here's what's truly fascinating. There is a specific point right at the top of a dog's skull, directly between the ears, called GV20 in veterinary acupressure. Applying slow, steady pressure to this exact spot stimulates the vagus nerve and helps shift the body out of fight or flight and into what's called the parasympathetic, or rest and digest state. This is the same principle behind why swaddling calms a newborn baby. Here's exactly how to do it. Find the small dip at the very top of your dog's head, right between the ears. Using 2 fingers, apply gentle, constant pressure, not a rub. Just steady pressure, and hold it for 30 to 60 seconds while you speak to your dog in a low, slow voice. You can repeat this 2 to 3 times during a stressful moment, like right before guests arrive, or right before you leave the house. Now, here's a quick warning. Never do this if your dog is already showing signs of aggression, growling, or resource guarding, since restraining the head in that moment can escalate fear into a bite. This technique is for combat anxious moments, not crisis moments with an already agitated dog. Chapter 2 is my personal favorite, and it works through something most owners have never connected to anxiety: pressure. Have you ever noticed your dog wants to squeeze under the coffee table or wedge themselves between the couch cushions during a storm? That's not random. That's your dog self-medicating with deep pressure. The science here is genuinely fascinating. Firm, even pressure across a dog's torso activates sensory receptors that trigger a drop in cortisol, the stress hormone, and a rise in oxytocin, the bonding hormone. This is the exact mechanism behind pressure wraps and compression vests that cost $50 to $80 online, but you can recreate. Roughly the same effect with a snug bandana or a soft scarf. Here's exactly how to do it. Take a long strip of soft, stretchy fabric, like an old t-shirt cut into a band. Wrap it snugly, not tight. Snugly around your dog's torso, just behind the front legs. Cross it over the back, and bring it around the belly, tying it gently at the top. It should feel like a firm hug, never restrictive. Leave it on for 10 to 20 minutes during the anxious event. Oh, here's a quick warning. Always supervise your dog while any wrap is on. Remove it immediately if your dog seems more agitated rather than less. And never leave a wrap on an unsupervised dog, since it could catch on furniture. Let me guess, you're probably thinking my dog just needs a treat to feel better. Stick with me here, because Chapter 3 takes that idea and flips it into something with real science behind it. The problem most owners face is that a treat is gone in 2 seconds. 2 seconds of distraction does almost nothing for a genuinely anxious brain. But what if the treat took 20 minutes to eat instead of 2 seconds? Licking and chewing are rhythmic, repetitive behaviors, and repetitive licking specifically has been shown to release endorphins and lower heart rate in dogs, similar to what we see in humans who chew gum under stress. Here's exactly how to do it. Take a hollow rubber toy, fill it with a spoonful of plain pumpkin puree or plain unsweetened yogurt, and freeze it for at least 4 hours. Give it to your dog about 20 minutes before a known stressor, like a car ride or a vet visit. The cold slows down the licking pace even further, extending the calming window. Now here's a quick warning. Only use plain pumpkin or plain unsweetened yogurt with no xylitol, since xylitol is highly toxic to dogs even in small amounts. Introduce dairy slowly, since some dogs are lactose sensitive. And always supervise chewing to prevent your dog swallowing large rubber pieces. Chapter 4 brings in something you might actually have in your kitchen cupboard right now, but I promise you the mechanism behind it is not what you think. It's not just tea. It's a compound called apigenin, found in chamomile flowers. And apigenin binds to some of the same calming receptors in the brain that prescription anti-anxiety medications target, just far more mildly and safely. Here's exactly how to do it. Steep 1 chamomile tea bag in hot water for 5 minutes, then let it cool completely to room temperature. Offer 1 to 2 tablespoons for a small dog, or up to a 1/4 cup for a large dog, mixed into their water bowl or poured over food. You can do this up to once daily during a known stressful period, like fireworks season. Now here's a quick warning. Chamomile should never replace prescribed anxiety medication for dogs with diagnosed severe anxiety disorders. Always introduce it in small amounts first to check for any allergic reaction. Skip it entirely if your dog is pregnant or on blood-thinning medication, since chamomile can have mild blood-thinning properties of its own. Chapter 5 is about the nose, and it might be the most underrated calming tool of all. Most owners think a walk is exercise. But what if I told you the way you walk your dog might be making their anxiety worse, not better? A fast-paced walk with no sniffing keeps a dog's brain in an alert, scanning state. But letting a dog sniff freely activates the same part of the brain associated with the parasympathetic calming response, essentially the canine version of meditation. Research on scent-focused activity has shown measurable decreases in heart rate during extended sniffing sessions. Here's exactly how to do it. Once a day, take your dog on what I call a sniffari. A slow 10 to 15-minute walk where you follow their nose instead of your usual route. No, pulling them along. Let them stop and investigate as long as they want at each spot. Now here's a quick warning. Keep your dog on leash in unfamiliar or unfenced areas for safety, and avoid areas with known toxic plants, fertilized lawns, or standing water. Since some dogs will lick or eat things they're sniffing, I promise you, this one change alone surprises more owners than almost anything else in this video. People come back and tell me their dog seems noticeably calmer within a week of adding just 1 slow sniffary walk a day, and it costs absolutely nothing. Chapter 6 is the foundation everything else sits on top of, and honestly, it's the one most owners skip, even though it matters more than any single remedy. Anxiety in dogs is almost always worsened by inconsistency, unpredictable feeding times, unpredictable walks, unpredictable departures. A predictable routine lowers baseline anxiety because the dog's brain isn't constantly bracing for the unknown. Here's exactly how to do it. Feed, walk, and settle your dog at roughly the same times every single day, even on weekends. Add a consistent 5-minute calm-down ritual before you leave the house. Dim lights, cue word. 1 treat so your dog's brain starts associating that ritual with safety rather than abandonment. Now here's a quick warning. Building a new routine takes time, so don't expect overnight results. Most dogs need 2 to 3 weeks of consistency before you see a real shift in their baseline anxiety, and that's completely normal. Stick with it even on the days it feels like nothing is changing. Let me guess, you're probably thinking 6 things sounds like a lot to remember. It's not. Once you see how these 6 fit together, they become second nature in about a week. Now please listen closely because this is a massive veterinary warning. None of these 6 techniques are a substitute for veterinary care if your dog's anxiety is severe. If your dog is self-harming through excessive licking or chewing, having panic attacks with drooling and destructive behavior, or showing anxiety-related aggression, please call your vet immediately. Severe anxiety often requires prescription medication alongside behavioral work, and there is nothing wrong with that. Some dogs genuinely need it, the same way some humans do. If mild anxiety symptoms persist beyond 3 weeks of consistent home management, please see your vet for a full evaluation. Here is the golden rule. You do not need to use all 6 of these at once, daily. Do the sniffari walk and the consistent routine ritual. Those are your foundation. 2 to 3 times a week, or whenever you know a trigger is coming, use the frozen lick toy and a small dose of chamomile is needed in the moment of a spike, a thunderstorm. A car ride, guests at the door, use the GV20 pressure point and the compression wrap together. The whole process should take you no more than 3 minutes to set up. Calming an anxious dog is one of the hardest parts of being a pet parent, because you can't just explain to them that everything is okay. But by choosing to educate yourself, by choosing to take just a few minutes out of your day to help your dog's nervous system feel safe, you are proving how much you truly love them, and that makes you an incredible pet parent. If this video gave you hope today, please hit that like button. It helps more pet parents find this information. Subscribe and hit the bell so you never miss our weekly deep dives. And please leave a comment telling me, what is the #1 thing that triggers your dog's anxiety? I read every single one. Give your sweet, anxious dog a gentle scratch behind the ears for Dr. Marcus tonight. I'll see you in the next one.